Hi, my name's Alec Crawford. I'm responsible for engineering operations at Jaguar Land Rover, and today I want to talk a bit about how we've used our configuration capability to overcome some of our problems caused by production supply of semiconductors. For those who aren't aware of Jaguar Land Rover as a company, we are a medium-sized car manufacturer. We have about 40,000 employees worldwide, and we currently produce 13 nameplates across both the Jaguar and the Land Rover brand. We have 8 major manufacturing locations or vehicle manufacturing locations worldwide. Well, 3 of those are in the UK. We have 2 in Central Europe, and 1 in India, 1 in China, and 1 in Brazil currently. Within product engineering, where I work, we've got circa 8,000 employees worldwide. Our biggest engineering location is at Gaydon in the UK. You can see a picture of Gaydon in the bottom left-hand corner. About 5,000 of our 8,000 employees work on this site in the UK. In terms of configuration within Jaguar Land Rover, historically, JLR has seen complexity as a hallmark of premium vehicles, and we have set our systems up such that our customers are able to personalize their orders and personalize their cars with features and options that they choose. And then we take those orders and build them to the customer order. And as you can see there in the picture, that is the car we just announced 2 days ago. It's the new Range Rover Sport. If you'd like to go online, you can see that. That's a new Range Rover Sport. However, the historic way we have configured our cars starts to lead us into problems when we begin to have increasingly complex and interconnected systems on our vehicles, where higher complexity leads to higher negative quality impacts. And our aim then is to make sure that we only offer complexity now where it supports a customer or business need. And within that, we're looking to simplify our product offering and simplify the product. Historically, within Jaguar Land Rover, we used to apply configuration to processes, and we ended up in a position where we had multiple different configurators managing our design process, our build process, our sales process, and our maintain process. Over the last several years, we've been moving to a single configurator and a single feature language, managing the whole of our process from the initial ideas for a vehicle through its complete design phase, into build, onto sale, and into maintain. And we call that Configuration Lifecycle Management. So this configuration stays with the vehicle all the way through that process, and we use it as a single source of maturing truth through product development, through into sales and manufacturing. The reason we did that is that we were struggling historically with multiple configurators and multiple views of the product and the quality that entailed. That caused us to do the same job several times. It took several months to get ourselves to a single workable configuration, and it led to a whole bunch of quality problems and wasted people time. And we've been in a position where we've been operating a single configurator right across the enterprise of a single feature language now for about 3 years. As we're all aware, just over 2 years ago, we suffered from the start of the COVID pandemic. What that meant for us as a manufacturer was that our sales and retail outlets were closed worldwide. And at various times, our plants were also closed with government regulations and shutdowns that we were experiencing in different markets at different times through the year. Where we'd been, as most automotive manufacturers are, is that we had been pursuing a just-in-time methodology where we trigger our schedules for parts based upon our sale and our predicted sale. And therefore, a huge hole opening up in our pipeline meant that we opened up a hole in our supply chains and our orders on our suppliers. Then, as we came to recover from COVID about 12 months ago, we found that the market had moved on quite considerably from where we'd left it. The semiconductor operators had sold that capacity out to those who were pulling. So firstly, they were asking for a 2-year order bank, whereas within manufacturing, we were typically used to dealing with about 12 weeks of lockdown order with them and 26-week visibility. They were asking for 104 weeks worth of order stability that we needed to offer them, and that's not something we'd ever been set up to do. And then we found ourselves in massive competition as the demand for semiconductors massively outstripped the capacity. So that was not only driven by automotive, with the move in automotive to the next gen electrical architectures that we're seeing both in our vehicles and across all our competitors, the increasing nature of electrification, which has massively upped the demand for semiconductors within the auto industry, but also semiconductor demand, largely driven by other industries and home use. So as people moved home within those COVID pandemics, the number of people looking to purchase home electronics completely changed the market, and the semiconductor suppliers were willing to sell the capacity that we turned off through just in time to those who were still ordering, and they were going into those home markets with an increasing demand within automotive as well. Now, having a single configurator allowed us initially to respond and start sending out 2-year schedules that allowed us to secure semiconductor supply in the longer term. But in the shorter term, we were experiencing a great deal of turbulence in the supply of semiconductors, which then led to issues on what we could or couldn't build. Now, historically, when we had several configurators and several versions of the truth, anything that changed feature or variant lineup while you were in production was an absolute taboo within JLR, because it would lead you to building unbuildable combinations or vehicles that simply didn't work. And this is where opportunity met preparedness, because we didn't set out when we went for a single configurator to resolve this issue. This isn't something that we had considered. We hadn't considered major global shortages right across a range of semiconductors that affected a range of components and therefore a range of features that we could offer on our vehicles. What we found was that the ACE orderability function allowed us to maintain the core integrity of our products and make sure that we were only building valid combinations. That allowed us to adjust what we were building from our order bank based upon what we could supply in terms of semiconductors. We made, in the course of the last calendar year, about 500,000 changes across the board in order to hide and vary the semiconductors on various orders that we had coming through, in order that we could maintain our build. And this capability has allowed us to protect the launch of the new Range Rover and the new Range Rover Sport, which we have just launched, and allows us to be able to react on a daily basis. And as I said, that's not a capability that we set out to deliver, but was a benefit that we found after we were running the system. As we've run that, what we've realized is that allows us to potentially manage our future orderability on the vehicles. All our vehicles are now completely enabled to be updated over the air. And what that will enable us to do, as we have a continuum of both software update and of feature update, is that we can, as those features become available, we can make them visible to the customers, and we can update their vehicles using exactly the same orderability, and to make sure that any features that we're offering are completely compatible with the order that they've got. And this is going to give us a massive amount of agility in our product ordering continuum that is an accidental byproduct that we didn't set out to do, but was something that became apparent as we responded to the semiconductor crisis. So finally, if I was to summarize, we set out several years ago to move to a single configuration engine and a single feature set. That was largely, at the beginning, was a data hygiene issue to prevent misbuilds and to get away from the real difficulty we had with maintaining coherence between several configurators running a number of our processes within our whole value chain. It enabled us to get better variant control and then control on the whole life cycle. So we set out to do that as a benefit. What we found after we launched the system back in 2019 is we found a phenomenal increase in efficiency that we hadn't expected. We moved from it taking us about 9 months to create a configuration to being able to do a full vehicle configuration completely validated within a 10-day period. That took feature configuration completely off the critical path and allowed us to genuinely do configuration lifecycle management, where we keep that configuration up to date throughout the life cycle of the product. It allowed us to automate a number of our inputs and provide very much earlier data that we built off surrogate data from previous vehicles. What we've discovered in the last 12 months are additional benefits that we didn't set out to do. That efficiency and speed that we're able to operate at, also with the agility of the systems, has enabled us to respond to varying availability of semiconductors in the marketplace, and has enabled us to carry on building those orders that we get through from the customers that we've got the requisite parts to deliver. It's enabled us to do that accurately. As I say, we've made several hundreds of thousands of changes on orders over the course of the 12 months, without any misbuilds or wrongly built vehicles, which is an astonishing result in a very volatile market. And that's enabled us to be agile through the crisis that we've had over the last 12 months, but it's also given us a capability moving forward that will enable us to roll out new software variants and new features over the air onto our vehicles as they become available. Thank you for listening.